A diphthong, also known as a gliding vowel, refers to two adjacent vowel sounds occurring within the same syllable. Technically, a diphthong is a vowel with two different targets. That is, the tongue moves during the pronunciation of the vowel. In most dialects of English, the phrase "No highway cowboys, no highway cowboys" has 5 distinct diphthongs, one in every syllable. Diphthongs contrast with monophthongs, where the tongue or other speech organs do not move and the syllable contains only a single vowel sound. For instance, in English, the word "r" is spoken as a monophthong, while the word "our" is spoken as a diphthong, where two adjacent vowel sounds occur in different syllables. For example, in the English word re-elect, the result is described as hiatus, not as of diphthong. Diphthongs often form when separate vowels are run together in rapid speech during a conversation. However, there are also unitary diphthongs, as in the English examples above, which are heard by listeners as single vowel sounds. Transcription. In the International Phonetic Alphabet, monophthongs are transcribed with one symbol, as in English sun, SN, in which represents a monophthong. Diphthongs are transcribed with two symbols, as in English hi, ha, or cow, ka, in which are and represent diphthongs. Diphthongs may be transcribed with two vowel symbols or with a vowel symbol and a semi-vowel symbol. In the words above, the less prominent member of the diphthong can be represented with the symbols for the palatal approximant J and the labiovelar approximant W, with the symbols for the close vowels I and U, or the symbols for the near close vowels and. Some transcriptions are broader or narrower than others. Transcribing the English diphthongs in hi and cow as aj or io is a less precise or broader transcription, since these diphthongs usually end in a vowel sound that is opener than the semi-vowels jw or the close vowels iu. Transcribing the diphthongs as a is a more precise or narrower transcription, since the English diphthongs usually end in the near close vowels. The non-syllabic diacritic, the inverted breve below, is placed under the less prominent part of a diphthong to show that it is part of a diphthong rather than a vowel in a separate syllable. When there is no contrastive vowel sequence in the language, the diacritic may be omitted. Other common indications that the two letters are not separate vowels are a superscript, or a tie bar, or. The tie bar can be useful when it's not clear which letter represents the syllable nucleus, or when they have equal weight. Superscripts are especially used when an on or off glide is particularly fleeting. The period is the opposite of the non-syllabic diacritic. It represents a syllable break. If two vowels next to each other belong to two different syllables, meaning that they do not form a diphthong, they can be transcribed with two vowel symbols with a period in between. Thus, low can be transcribed low.er, with a period separating the first syllable, low, from the second syllable, The non-syllabic diacritic is only used when necessary. It is typically omitted when there is no ambiguity, as in ha, ka. No words in English have the vowel sequences *a, so the non-syllabic diacritic is unnecessary. Types. Falling and rising. Falling diphthongs start with a vowel quality of higher prominence and end in a semi-vowel with less prominence, like a in I, while rising diphthongs begin with a less prominent semi-vowel and end with a more prominent full vowel, similar to the ya in yard. The less prominent component in the diphthong may also be transcribed as an approximant, thus aj in iron, ya in yard. However, when the diphthong is analyzed as a single phoneme, both elements are often transcribed with vowel letters. Note also that semi-vowels and approximants are not equivalent in all treatments, and in the English and Italian languages, among others. Many phoneticians do not consider rising combinations to be diphthongs, but rather sequences of approximant and vowel. There are many languages that contrast one or more rising diphthongs with similar sequences of a glide and a vowel in the phonetic inventory. Closing, opening, and centering in closing diphthongs. The second element is more close than the first. In opening diphthongs, The second element is more open. Closing diphthongs tend to be falling, and opening diphthongs are generally rising, as open vowels are more sonorous and therefore tend to be more prominent. However, exceptions to this rule are not rare in the world's languages. In Finnish, for instance, the opening diphthongs, I, and uo, are true falling diphthongs, since they began louder and with higher pitch and fall in prominence during the diphthong. A third, rare type of diphthong that is neither opening nor closing is height harmonic diphthongs, with both elements at the same vowel height. These occurred in Old English. Beyond, B-O-N, B, seal, KLD, cold. A centering diphthong is one that begins with a more peripheral vowel and ends with a more central one, such as e, and e in received pronunciation, or ie and u in Irish. Many centering diphthongs are also opening diphthongs. Diphthongs may contrast in how far they open or close. For example, Samoan contrasts low to mid with low to high diphthongs. I, probably, a, but, oro, ro, gold, ow, a cloud. Narrow and wide narrow diphthongs are the ones that end with a vowel which on a vowel chart is quite close to the one that begins the diphthong. For example, Northern Dutch e, o, and o. Wide diphthongs are the opposite, they require a greater tongue movement, and their offsets are farther away from their starting points on the vowel chart. Examples of wide diphthongs are rp, gar English, and a. Length languages differ in the length of diphthongs, measured in terms of morae. In languages with phonemically short and long vowels, diphthongs typically behave like long vowels, and are pronounced with a similar length. In languages with only one phonemic length for pure vowels, however, diphthongs may behave like pure vowels. For example, in Icelandic, both monophthongs and diphthongs are pronounced long before single consonants and short before most consonant clusters. Some languages contrast short and long diphthongs. In some languages, such as Old English, these behave like short and long vowels, occupying 1 and 2 morae, respectively. Languages that contrast three quantities in diphthongs are extremely rare, but not unheard of. Northern Sami is known to contrast long, short and finely stressed diphthongs, the last of which are distinguished by a long second element. Phonology. In some languages, diphthongs are single phonemes, while in others they are analyzed as sequences of two vowels, or of a vowel and a semi-vowel. Sound changes. Certain sound changes relate to diphthongs and monophthongs. Vowel breaking or diphthongization is a vowel shift in which a monophthong becomes a diphthong. Monophthongization or smoothing is a vowel shift in which a diphthong becomes a monophthong. Difference from a vowel and semi-vowel. While there are a number of similarities, diphthongs are not the same phonologically as a combination of a vowel and an approximant or glide. Most importantly, diphthongs are fully contained in the syllable nucleus, while a semi-vowel or glide is restricted to the syllable boundaries. This often manifests itself phonetically by a greater degree of constriction, though the phonetic distinction is not always clear. The English word yes, for example, consists of a palatal glide followed by a monophthong rather than a rising diphthong. In addition, the segmental elements must be different in diphthongs so that e, when it occurs in a language, does not contrast with I, though it is possible for languages to contrast ij and I.